Welcome to the Focal Insights Podcast Founder Hour edition, hosted by co-founder Joe Pollock. Joe has been in the e-commerce industry for over 25 years. He grew and bootstrapped his own startup to a successful exit. Founder Hour episodes go behind the scenes to learn how some of the best e-commerce brands were founded, grown, and operated straight from the founders themselves. Founder Hour is brought to you by Focal Software, a new generation ERP and operation suite for e-commerce brands and third-party marketplace sellers. Focal was built with SMB brands and marketplace sellers in mind to help them grow profitably. Now let's welcome our host, Joe Pollock.
Hello and welcome to the Focal E-commerce Insights podcast, where we chat with e-commerce entrepreneurs about business, selling online, and how to overcome challenges for success. Today we have a very exciting guest, but before we get started, for listeners not familiar with the podcast or Focal Software, we are an e-commerce operations software and marketplace account management company. So if you need help growing your business profitably, be sure to stay tuned to future podcasts or feel free to reach out. Joining us today is Deborah Tacoma, who is the president, founder, and inventor at Freedom Creators, a company that helps individuals maintain their dignity and independence in personal hygiene with the invention of the Freedom Wand. Deborah founded Freedom Creators in 2007. The company has helped thousands of people live a more active and an independent life with dignity. The main product, Freedom Wand, has been made in the USA for the past 19 years. Freedom Wand won the MedTrade Providers Choice Award in 2009 and Excellence in Innovation Award in 2010. Deborah currently lives and works in Holland, Michigan. Deborah, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting.
All right. Well, we always start off the podcast with a little bit of what people like to call these days your origin story, or how you got started in business, and what was the motivation behind it. I know that there may be a bit of a personal component to you, where you saw a need for something for yourself, and then it got your gears turning and developed Freedom Wand. But why don't you tell us about how that went?
Well, in 2006, I was in a car accident and I broke my back and I was in the hospital for 6 days. And when I left the hospital, I was in a turtle shell, one of those plastic cases that encompass your entire chest from your waist all the way up to your neck. And I couldn't bend or twist. There was no BLT care instruction, no bending, lifting, or twisting for 4.5 months. I was also over 385 pounds, so I was pretty obese. And well, when you're in that situation, taking care of your toileting is very critical because you don't have anybody with you 24 hours a day. And at that time, which was way back in 2006, I couldn't find anything long enough for my size and condition, but also short enough to be portable that you could take with you wherever you went. I also wanted to solve the problem of washing my back and my feet with something that was long handled, and then shaving. It was a hot summer, so I wanted to shave my legs and I couldn't find anything that would hold a shaver, or apply medicated cream or lotions to my dry spots or infections or rashes in my bottom because of all the drugs that you're on, because of what your situation is. So I'm like, well, this is stupid. Why people live with this their whole lives? Why isn't there tools out there like this? And especially one that could do it all. So my girlfriend and I put together a very makeshift thing to at least get myself clean with, which was not portable and it was not fun to do. But I'm like, we got to change this. And I'm a Christian, so it's all God's idea. He brought up an idea of how to hold the toilet tissue and make it work and still have it, compatible or that you can take it apart and take it with you. And I took that idea on a napkin to a friend at my church who was an inventor. And he said, great idea, do your market research. And he sent me to his patent attorney and his injection molding company. And they both backed me and we took off from there.
Wow. Okay. So you saw the need for something. And that's a pretty common story you hear a lot too. People solve problems for themselves and then figure, well, hey, there's probably a lot of people that have this problem. So you create the product and you go to market with it. And then talk a little bit about that. What challenges did you face? Did you have a company before that? Did you know what you were getting into, or were you just going to jump in the deep end?
Oh, ignorance is bliss. If I knew what I was going to get into, I would not have done this. I'm sure I would not have had the guts to do this. So, I was a mom with 3 children at home. My husband had a plumbing business, and I was running his plumbing office and had learned QuickBooks. And, how I thought I could do this, I have no idea. I never went to college, never worked in manufacturing, never had any experience in any of that. But I saw a need, and I thought, well, if I could sell enough and make enough money, at least to pay the loan to get the tool made, that would be okay. Never in my wildest dreams that I would think that would still be here 19 years later and we would be international and growing like crazy. So, it's all God's thing, but one step at a time. You just take one step at a time. And like I say, ignorance can be bliss, but I've had a lot of amazing local people that have my injection molding guys, my tooling guys. They've all just been great at backing me and loving what I was doing because it was a product that was helping people and not just an automotive part, which is what they usually do. So they were super sweet to help me out.
That's great. And so when you talk about getting into business, everybody faces challenges. Some of them they're expecting, some of them are unexpected. So would you say then your biggest challenge was just learning everything and just getting in and figuring it all out?
Well, sure. The biggest challenge at first was, coming up with the loan for the USA made tooling, which is not cheap. And my product took 4 tools. So it was a very expensive endeavor to get involved in. And then I'm from the generation, I'm 64, so I'm from the generation prior to big time computers. So learning computer systems, I hired, my first hires were interns from Hope College. I live in Holland, Michigan, so marketing and finance interns from Hope College, they came and helped things get set up, and I found a really good IT guy. So just a lot of that was just a really big learning curve when you're first starting out and you're not used to any of that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Lots to learn both on the business side and then the manufacturing side, if that was all new to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, speaking of computers and technology that helps you run your business and helps everyone run their business, let's talk a little bit about e-commerce. You started the company in 2007, so that was fairly early days of e-commerce. Did you decide to sell online right away, or how did you get the product out there to people?
So we developed a website, and I knew QuickBooks from running my husband's plumbing business. So I had been self-taught in QuickBooks. So I knew we needed QuickBooks and we needed a website. So we've had a website from day one, and the website sold. And then my first conference was in the spring of 2008 was my occupational therapy conference. My 2 daughters and I went out to California and met Fred Sammons from Preston, Sammons Preston, it was at the time, now it's Performance Health. And just a wonderful man from Kalamazoo, an inventor, a doctor, an occupational therapist. He's just amazing. And he took me on. So he was my first distributor. And I met him at the occupational therapy show. So I went to PT and OT shows and med trade for up until 2020. So that's how I got out there. And from that, you build a database, of course, and you get CRM tools. And we've progressed from one tool to another as we've grown. And then I don't even know exactly when we started selling online on Amazon, but I knew I needed to get on Amazon. So I hired somebody from maybe Fiverr or Upwork, something like that, to help me get onto Amazon. And that might have been 2011 or 12, possibly. And then we've just migrated from there. So we keep adding more and more online platforms, and the selling system has changed a little bit. The distributors are kind of going away because online has become so big, right? So online platforms and people that are now coming on board that are competing against Amazon are coming on board. More and more of those are coming on board because they see what Amazon's doing and they're duplicating it. So it just keeps morphing. Online and selling just keeps morphing and tweaking and changing a little bit,
Yeah, it
especially
sure
since
does.
COVID shut down anything in public. And even the trade shows now, a lot of those are online instead of in person. They're coming
Yeah,
back, though. The in-person are coming back. I just am now too busy to go.
COVID definitely changed the e-commerce world. I think it
Yeah,
really accelerated accelerated things. It would have all happened anyway, right? It's still
right.
growing quite a bit, but it really jump started it there
You
for a
did.
few years. Now, your current website is a Shopify website, but I don't even think Shopify was around back when you made your first
No.
website. So what tools have you used for that?
You know what? That is a long time ago. So,
Maybe WordPress, or you just had
yep,
something?
we had WordPress. We've had I can't remember what the last one was. And I've always had somebody that designed it, always managed it, right? So if I needed changes, they would just manage it. So the newest one is with Shopify now, and that's only been about a year and a half, maybe.
Okay. And that's working pretty well for you?
Right now it is, yes.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
can tell until something does not. It works well until something does not.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned Amazon and some other platforms. So you've got your own website, you use marketplaces. I think what other ones? Walmart?
Walmart, Amazon, somebody has me on eBay. I don't know who it is that's got it selling on eBay. And then we just launched today actually on Grommet, Grommet.
Okay.
Grommet.com just pushed me live this morning, so that's exciting. And then there's another one that's coming out, Rivally is coming out, and they are going to be all US only products.
Oh, okay. Well,
Mhm.
that's a good platform for you. And with all the recent tariff talk, you're in a
Yes.
good position for that as well.
As far as I know, I'm the only toileting aid that is made in the USA. There is another USA company that has one, but I believe it's still made out of the country. So I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I
Yeah.
know that the majority of them are. I mean, there's only about 4 of us that are really that compete against each other.
Hmm.
But, mhm.
Okay, well, we talked about COVID speeding up the whole e-commerce market. It is continuing to grow. It's currently about a $6 trillion market, which equates to about 1 in every 4 transactions is online, and that's going to continue to grow. So, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the future of e-commerce? It sounds like you're growing your marketplaces, and are there any other things that you think are coming that you need to be get ahead of and or maybe use to help you with your business?
Um, Well, we're trying to go back to more in person with trying to do some snail mail. We're trying to do B2B, B2C, a little bit more, but with a different channel because you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, we found out, right? So you don't want to rely strictly on Amazon. That is for sure. But with Amazon being who they are, websites, your own website, my website is kind of morphed into being information only and educational more than, I mean, I still sell, of course, it's a Shopify site, but because everybody gets the education and then they go check it out on Amazon and everybody's got Prime and account on Amazon and it's just easy, returns are easy, everything's easy on Amazon. So more and more companies that are going to compete against Amazon is where we're going to be focusing and looking as well, so that we don't have just one selling channel, because you definitely don't want all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, you're right. Amazon's very convenient and easy to use and purchase. Of course, your own website is always going to have the highest margins and lower fees.
Right.
Um, so it's you know, don't want to neglect that either. Okay, how about in general for you know, we like to use this podcast as an educational tool for anyone that's thinking of getting into business or specifically in e-commerce business. Do you have any advice for people that are thinking about quote unquote quitting their 9 to 5 and starting out on their own?
If you're needing it to be your prime income, you need to really do a lot. I was blessed that I had a husband that was working full time, so I didn't have to worry about it being my prime income until the last 12 years. But now it is supporting me. It's not a get rich quick scheme. Overnight companies that become a success usually take about 15 to 18 years to become overnight successes. And then all of a sudden it skyrockets, right? So
Yeah.
we're at that 19th year. But I went into the business with the mindset that I just wanted to help people. And I never imagined that it would become this huge conglomerate, or I would even be going international. We have distributors in Australia and Canada. So be prepared to learn a lot, be prepared to be surprised and shocked, and be prepared to be broke because investing and is not for the faint of heart. And of course I stayed in the USA because I did not want to travel to China. I did not want to deal with China. I just didn't want to learn that learning curve. So I chose the USA, which is more expensive. The tooling and everything is a lot more expensive, but it's also a lot more convenient. So but just be prepared for a lot. And if it is your main source of income, you're going to need to have pretty deep pockets to get yourself started, especially if you've got injection molding molds. We were doing great until 23, and then a mold just decided to give up the ghost. So to recreate another mold for the head was $85,000. So it sets you back, not just a few thousand, it sets you back for a long time.
Yeah, there's one of those unexpected challenges that you have to face and deal with. And what you talked about there, and you mentioned earlier too, with the initial cost to get up and running in the loan. So really very simple. You need cash to run a business. And I think in addition to what you said, I think people are often surprised at how fast you can spend money because you need a lot to run a business. You need people and you need things and products and inventory. And yeah, it gets very, very expensive.
I'd say my number one challenges, actually, I have said that to my board, is the financial understanding and the depth of the finances to have a really good plan, solid plan going forward and to maintain that budget. But the marketing is just an utter nightmare. Someone told me when I first started that if it was going to take me $100,000 to get it ready for the market, which it took more than that, then it's going to take at least $300,000 to get it into the market. And I did not believe him. And if I would have believed him, I wouldn't have probably continued. But that is not even close to the right numbers. Marketing is a monster. So if you're going to go into a business, you've got to have somebody in your corner that you can utterly trust that's going to do a great job with your marketing, because that has been my number one PTSD developer is marketing.
Yeah, the marketing and advertising, especially on marketplaces, keeps getting more and more expensive.
Yes.
And then one of the things that gets mentioned a lot on these podcasts with heavy marketplace sales is visibility to fees and understanding your margins and where the fees are going. How are you handling that challenge? Are you able to have a pretty good handle on Amazon, specifically their fees, and are you able to sell? It's a bit of a volume game, right? Like lower margins, higher volume. And how's that working out?
I just recently realized that there are two philosophies for Amazon, which will carry that to every selling platform. And in business, you can have the philosophy that you want high volume. And somebody recently explained to me, high volume is vanity. High sales volume is vanity. High profit margin is sanity. And cash is king. So you can hire marketing people that are going to handle your Amazon account, because Amazon is a monster and it is difficult. And so there are lots of companies that will completely handle every aspect of Amazon, your brand store, your listings, your customer communication back and forth, your shipment. Make sure your shipments do not get shorted and that they get there, and you have shipment reconciliation, as well as everything, all the advertising on Amazon. But some of these companies are focused on large numbers and sales volume, but mainly because they get paid a percentage of the sales volume. And then you can find some that are focused on really getting you the best profit margin. You may not have as many sales, but you'll have a much better profit margin. And once that profit margin can get established, then you know how you're stabilizing, how you're set, so that you can grow your sales from that. So we have just gone away from a company that was focused on high sales and flipped it into high profit, because we weren't making hardly anything on Amazon because it was costing me so much money. And
Yeah.
so we've cut out a lot, and our sales have fallen a little bit, but our profit margins have come up, and now we are maybe a week or so away from really pushing the new sales channels, the new sales strategy to get the sales back up, but keep the profit margin the way it is, so that you actually have profit from selling on Amazon.
Yeah, and what you described there is fairly typical, where a company that manages based on sales volume and not profitability, they can do that by spending a lot of money on advertising, and that's your money. You pay for the ad spend, so they can look good and look like it's performing, but you're not making any money. So that's a very important point.
Right, because you can't maintain being in business if you don't have any kind of profit.
No, you'll go out of business.
Right.
Okay, well, we talked about the Freedom Wand. Why don't you tell our listeners a little more about it, where to find you and your website, and if anyone wants to reach out to you, tell them how to find you.
Okay. Well, Freedom Wand, WAND.com is where you can find us. And we sell 3 different sizes. The compact kit is 2 pieces, that's 14 inches. The master kit comes with 3 pieces, that makes 20 inches. And the ultimate kit gets up to 25.5 inches. And it comes also with a strap. And I don't have my strap right here, but it's a strap that attaches to the handle to give people leverage to hold on to it in case they should drop it, and they can't pick it up. So we have 3 different sizes to help any size and any age. My smallest person that used it was a 3.5-year-old little person. She was absolutely adorable. She was so teeny that her legs were about the size of the head. And she wanted to be independent in school so that she could be mainstreamed and not go through special services. So it just changed her life forever. My oldest person that I know of was 101, and my largest person was over 700 pounds. So it can hold multiple items. We created it so that the grippers open, and there's an opening in there to hold something that likes the diameter of your pinky. And you can shake it and you can see how well that holds all on its own. And it really puts indentations in your pinky. But it will hold a disposable shaver. It's going to hold an ointment pad to apply medicated cream and lotions to hemorrhoids, infections, incisions, or dry spots, or staph infections and folds for the obese patient. And it will hold a loofah by tying some knots in this loofah rope like this. And you put it nice deep into the grippers. You can pull that in and it holds it nice and firmly. So now you can wash yourself in the shower, reach your back, your feet, your legs, everything place you can't normally reach. But the most important part is the toilet paper. So everybody wants to be independent with their toileting and hygiene. So depending on the thickness of your paper, it's about five sheets, and you just want to gather it up, and you take 8 points, the side. It creates about a diameter of your pinky, a stem, about 1 inch. You want to put it deep into the grippers. With your finger, your thumb, you can pull this in, or you can pinch and push it in, depending on where your strength is. It holds it nice and tightly, and just by sliding the button, it drops it right into the toilet, and you don't have to peel anything off, and it comes apart, and it all comes with a cloth carry bag, so you can take it with you and have an active, independent lifestyle. And that can all be found at freedomwand.com.
All right, and you are the inventor of that product. I'm just curious. It looks very refined. Did you have many different versions? Did you retool, or has it been similar to what you invented back in 2007?
It's pretty much similar. The handle has never changed, except we put a pin in here because my obese patients have sometimes a hard time sitting on it. And so breaking it, so we put an extra pin in here to make it extra strong right here. The extension has always stayed the same. That has never changed, and it's injection molded right here to seal it together. But my head has gone through quite a change. The style itself is the same, but this is now snapped on instead of injection molded on because the sonic weld process that would weld these together does not like a curve. And that became a nightmare. So we've got my name embedded in here. It's exactly the same from here to here, but this curve is a little sharper. And that's pretty much the only thing that's changed. We've changed the color from blue to green, and we've changed a little bit of the ABS plastic to be a little bit harder plastic. But otherwise, it's been the same ever since day one. The same look, the same feel. We have changed the carry bags. We used to make our own carry bags in the very beginning with the surging system, but now we purchase those, and they're a cloth cotton carry bag. So that's changed a little bit, but otherwise for in the 19 years, it's been a really great product. We are coming out with new innovations for it. So we are designing a comb and a brush set that will go in, and a curved silverware set that it will hold, plus a toothbrush, so that people can have more independence when they can't use their shoulders, like cystic fibrosis, right? A patient that with cystic fibrosis, her OT used it because her shoulders wouldn't move and her arm was up here. And so by putting the strap on her hand and putting a pencil in backwards, the OT used the eraser of the pencil so that she could turn the page of her own book and be independent to read. Otherwise, she had to wait for somebody to always turn her page of her book. So when it can hold anything that's the diameter of your pinky, it's unbelievable how many how many ways.
That's a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing all that information. And I'm assuming that if anybody wants to reach out to you, they can find out how to do that on the website as well.
You bet. Yep. The phone number and email address is right there.
All right. Well, with that, I think we'll wrap up today's podcast. Deborah, thank you so much for sharing your experience with our listeners. And thanks to everyone listening and watching, and we'll see you next time.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Focal Insights Podcast. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can be alerted of new episodes. See you next time.